Hi. Did y'all miss us?
Hello.
It's
When is the
been
last time we streamed?
the week before we went to the Clash, or the week of the Clash.
So we did stream that week. I forgot
Yeah,
about
that Monday, and then travel day was the Monday after, and then I had work deadlines, and I was really, really, really tired, and you were getting over a
Right.
cold, and so I called
Right.
it.
So it's been a while, and we're
Yeah.
not going to get in a ton of streaming coming up because I'm going to Germany.
Well,
So we'll only miss
wunderbar, however you say it.
Wunderbar. I know. I guess Jake said that I could actually stream because it's 6 hours ahead. So that's like streaming at 11 p.m. for me.
If you insist,
In
I'm
Germany.
not going to say no to that.
I don't want to bring my laptop to Germany. So I
Yeah.
have to stream on my phone. I don't know. I wouldn't count on it.
Well, yeah, and then you're talking about like audio quality, and
Yeah, who
who
knows
knows
how?
what the Wi-Fi is gonna be like at the hotel,
Yeah,
and
I mean, who knows?
it's like a 20-second delay between me saying something and you responding like a robot.
Nancy B suggests we stream in German. So
We
I
need Jake
don't
for that.
speak German, but Jake does. So I guess Jake could stream.
So over a year ago, I know Jake was a 1 year into his German lessons, like
No, Jake's
consistent.
Duolingo streak now is almost 4 years, or is over 4 years, because he
Oh,
started
I thought it
it like
was.
right around when COVID started, and he has not missed a day. So he's gotten
Meanwhile, I broke
good.
my Wordle streak when I was at the Clash, and I was so pissed.
Oh, Jake also has a Wordle streak. I'm
And it's
sorry to broke
probably
yours.
yeah.
It's long. Yeah, his Wordle streak is long. You should be one of his Wordle friends. He has
How do
Wordle
you
friends.
how do you do that?
I don't know. Are you guys Facebook friends? Because every
I
day
don't know.
Jake shares his Wordle, and then his friends share their Wordle on his Facebook, and that's just all it is. It's not.
Oh, there's me and
You'd
Zen
have to be.
share our Wordles.
You'd have to be Facebook friends with Jake. I mean, that's
Okay,
a lot. It's a
that's a
lot.
big commitment.
It's a big commitment. It's a lot. I mean, Corey says every day I just spoil the Wordle on every platform I can find.
That's why I usually do it at midnight, because if it's like recently there was one where even the Wordle bot failed it, and it had a very high failure rate, and apparently it was like the third hardest in history. And if I had waited and woke up, I would have just been inundated with headlines and posts, people complaining about the word, and it would have been spoiled for me. So that's one reason to stay up past midnight, everybody.
There you go. I don't do the Wordle. So I mean I support him emotionally through the Wordle,
That's
through
good.
good times and bad. So
That's good.
We're back. We're streaming, We bought a lot of stuff at the Clash. I guess you've probably already talked about what you bought.
I talked about it on McStreamy a little bit,
Yeah.
but didn't really go into detail. Plus, it's been like 2 weeks, and so I can report on stuff that is pissing me off and stuff that's doing quite well.
Oh.
Well, unfortunately, the biggest tragedy is the Algae. It's it does not hydroponic. It does not pond, or doesn't
really.
it doesn't mosh pit.
I'm so surprised.
The roots detached, the crown is rotted, it's probably toast. I have it kind of sitting in the hang on the back where just the tip of the crown is touching, but that's just more desperation than.
I wonder if you could just plant that outside in your yard.
Maybe so, or just repot it if it's not too late.
They have bulbs, they'll come back. I mean, I don't. Every alocasia is different. What zone it is hardy in?
Mm-hmm.
In theory, I think there are some that, like, even in southern Ohio, are hardy, but most of them aren't. Most of them are tropical and subtropical.
Well, Yeah, I think it just got waterlogged. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Steve said, alocasia will rot. So
I have
I
had
don't.
really, I have not found that to be true. I grow tons of alocasias. Every single one has done really well for me. I've grown them in my ponds. I've grown them out of tanks and they've done well. That really, really sucks.
What was the name of
But
the
because
one?
I know
It
you're
was a
not, yeah.
$40 plant too.
It should come back though, because it is, it does have bulbs. So it should come back. I would just
Okay.
pot it up in some dirt in a pot. Maybe in the spring you could plant it outside if you wanted. I mean, because you are zone, I think 9B there, and it might
Yeah.
just be fine. It's yeah. Hi, Edward. Sorry, I haven't emailed you back yet. So Edward says, I heard you're going to consider Ghost. I emailed you about it. I might pull the trigger. Is it as green as I see in the photos? So I haven't seen it in person. So, it's hard to say. However, the person who's posting the photos is Jason Doyle, who's posted a lot of photos on Rainbow Fish Live.
And he's not a
And
known Photoshopper.
no, he takes his pictures are all sunlit. So
Nice.
really, really true. I think sunlight makes rainbow fish look so pretty. They just look so good that way. So I think
Oh,
his
I should have
pictures are very
got a
natural.
picture of my Bosemani today. I opened the blinds because winter's coming and I have all these new plants and I put in the window and I open the blinds and now like there's a beam of southern sunlight that comes in to the plant farm and like illuminated this male Bosemani like perfectly. I should have got a photo of it.
They're so pretty in the sun.
I know.
I mean the reason I haven't, so I had a source for Synergos and then he decided not to sell them to me, which whatever.
Those weren't the ones that you said had ick or something was going
Yeah,
on with
he had
them.
ick in his fish room and was like, oh, I guess I'm not selling fish now. I'm like, well,
It's
just
ick.
treat
Cure
your
the
ick.
ick.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what, a
it's what
week?
Ick-X is for. It's the easiest disease ever to treat. And like,
Yeah.
it's still warm here. It's 81 degrees here. I can still ship fish. So, but whatever. But Marcel Worthrick, who I bought fish from before and is a really good seller, is selling them. However, the ones he had were small and you would have to grow them out on live baby brine before they could go in with the big boys. And I just don't want to do that. I leave town a lot. I'm about to leave for Germany for almost 2 weeks. And I'm just not in a position where I can feed fish every day with live baby brine fish or shrimp. So, and especially for what he's charging, which I'm totally willing to pay what fish cost. But it's kind of like for that amount of money, I would really like grown out fish,
I kind of
So
enjoy the raising of the fish. I get it though. Like if you're
yeah,
traveling
I'm
and
gonna
you
leave
have two
for
tanks,
2
so it's
weeks.
not like you can. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the other option was that I would buy them and I would send them to Foxy and Peplin, who would babysit them for me. And I would pay them to grow them out, and I'd pick them up from them at Christmas because
We should just outsource all of our fry raising to to Foxy and Peplin.
Yeah. And speaking of, if mods could drop the link for that in the chat, they are still shipping, I think, until the end of the
I
month.
think so. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
getting to
So,
that cold time though.
oh, Foxian says that they're great baby fish babysitters. It's the truth. They give their fish so much love and care. So maybe I still will do that. I don't know. I really do want them Sinner Ghosts, but I can also wait because there are a lot of people who've said they'll breed them for me. Patience is a virtue. I can enjoy the fish I have. I just bought some Melanotaenia picta, which are still little, but they're okay size. They're fine with the big boys. But I think maybe I'll just wait and see what happens. But lots of people want picta, and or I mean,
For
not
good reason.
Picta is also great. Synergos is lots of people are looking for it. It was, I guess you could say, extinct in the United States, but Marcel got it from Europe again, and So it's a going concern. There are a few people who have it. They are breeding it. It's a great looking fish. It's really beautiful. If you go to Rainbow Fish Live, you can look up pictures of it. Jason Doyle's takes really good pictures that are really true to life. And yes, I want it. It's at #1 on my most wanted rainbow fish. So, and Corey says, I've more than once raised rainbows for someone else. It's painful. When you owe favors, pray they don't ask to be paid back.
Really, it's like, why do you keep eating and why won't you grow?
I know.
What are you doing with the food?
I would really owe Foxy had a big favor, but she takes such good care of fish. And I know she already is raising other fish, so like, it wouldn't be quite as burdensome.
Mm.
But anyways, yes, so that's the story on M. Goes. I do still really want them, but I can also be patient. So your alocasia bit the dust.
Yeah,
I think it will recover. I would pot it up. Maybe it just doesn't do well. Every other alocasia I've ever grown has done really, really well with wet feet. I mean, I grow them on my ponds every year. I love them. I bought this alocasia, which I have not planted yet. Oh, let's show it to you.
I think it's massive. Looking good, though.
But look at the stems. So this is Alocasia zebrina. You can see why. It's got these zebra stems that look really, really cool. So I bought this to grow out of the 90, and I just haven't planted it yet. Because it's perfectly happy in a pot.
Hopefully it does okay. So I did
yeah, because it was also an expensive plant. It's probably $40. So, but yeah, I bought that, and I bought what is that? Your Pink Princess?
This is Pink Princess, and it wasn't in great shape when I bought it from the auction, but it's perked up and it's not rotting and it's fine.
Yeah, all my philodendrons have done really well, and I bought a philodendron also.
This was the alocasia that I snapped a photo of it today, and then I lifted it up like, oh, this thing is falling apart. Well, that's fantastic.
No, that's sad. So this is Prince of Orange that I bought in the middle here, and it's doing great. It didn't even undergo any adaptation period. It's just awesome.
Sweet.
So yeah, hydroponic wall looking pretty sweet. And the funny thing is Jake wanted to buy that plant too, the Prince of Orange. And then he saw I'd already bought it, and that was kind of good enough. I mean, he could just live vicariously through me. So Zenny asked, question, on plants that can't have wet feet, can you really leave them planted but run a cotton wick or something to still provide fish water at a slower pace? Yeah. So I have tried that outside last year. So I like to have hanging pots of ornamentals on the sides of my plants. So like petunias and like calabricoas and things like that. And I got some cotton plant wicks. And it wasn't quite enough for outdoors to keep up with the demands of the water because, it gets pretty hot here. Not as hot as it does for you, but hot enough. But indoors, I think it would keep up with the watering demands, and you might not even have to water your houseplants. So the cotton wick does work.
I should have done that. Like, I need a little platform in here because if I move this outside and I have to water it, then it's going to suffer a similar fate. It's because I'm going to forget.
I think a lot of alocasias, we might be able to look online at the specific variety of alocasia, what zone it's hardy to, but people grow them year round in the ground where you live. And once they're established, you're not going to even have to water them because you live in a swamp. Like you live in perfect climate for alocasias. In fact, some alocasias are probably like invasive there.
Oinky says, what snail would you use in a 20-gallon planted tank with nanofish for hair algae control? The ram's horns in there already mocked me. Yeah. Sorry, ma'am, that shit ain't our jam. We only procreate on it. I don't know any.
I don't think
snail that absolutely eats.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
I even think the ones that people think are munching on hair algae are really just like munching on the crap caught between the hair algae.
yeah, I mean, I really like Cleathon snails, which are hornerites. They will eat spot algae growing on the glass. They'll clean off anubias leaves and the spot algae and slimy glass algae and stuff like that. But I'm not aware of any snail that will eat hair algae. And in fact, I don't know. Hair algae is the worst of algae, in my opinion.
I
And
mean, the
I
only
don't
thing
think
that's
algae
okay about
eaters
it,
are really gonna take care of it.
you can remove hair algae. It doesn't
True.
stick to plants, where versus like black beard or
Yeah.
spot algae. Or I'm dealing with green dust algae because I call it the hot tank, the one in the living room where I've got like I'm blasting all the light and super CO2 while I was gone. Apparently the dog knocked over the CO2, and since mother-in-law was taking care of the house, like and taking care of the dogs, she let us know it happened. So instead of like telling her how to dial the CO2 back in, I was just like, all right, just remotely switch that off for 3 days, and you come back and the aquarium's like, oh my god, there's a change in the system,
Oh God.
self-destruct initiated.
Yeah.
So
But I mean, yeah, I don't think you can eat your way out of a hair algae problem with algae eaters. I just don't think it works. I'm sorry to say.
I
You
mean,
should
you
either
can
get a
certainly
snail
get
that you
them
like.
to eat it, but it's like, will they eat it faster than it's produced if you don't like get to the root of the problem?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I know that some people say that like what are they called? Flagfishes. The what is it? Jordanella, the Florida flagfish. They'll eat hair algae. I have never kept them. I cannot say if that is true. I think that even if they didn't, they are really pretty fish. So if you have the right conditions for them, you know. So Corey says that the Spixie snail, but it will also eat other snails and plants
Oof.
sometimes, and it's illegal to go over state lines. Yeah,
It's
I've
a lot
never
of
kept
things
that,
working
but
against it.
yeah, it is kind of yeah. I mean, I've never kept them. So
Rebecca says snails are unfairly persecuted.
I love snails. I think they're beautiful organisms, and I think that, if you should keep a snail for maybe its own sake. So
Or to feed your puffers.
shh. Shh.
Look, in a perfect world, my puffers would be like, ooh, flake, ooh,
Ooh,
rapashi.
viper bites.
Yeah, I mean they do eat vibrobites, but
But
you gotta.
you have those the big puffer. Like it really does need snails. And by big, I
It's
mean bigger than a pea
the
puffer.
biggest
I
puffer
guess
that
in the
I'm
realm
willing
of
to have.
puffers, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
We've triggered Annette. She's triggered. Jake would be
Well,
triggered too because I mean, the pond snails are the most important inhabitants of my tanks. It doesn't matter how many rare and endangered rainbows I have. He only cares for the pond snails.
yeah, Spixie also eat anubias and other large plants. The puffers like to take bites out of the plants, but
Do they?
I can forgive them because it's a pretty robust tank, and
Do you think they just do it because they're bored? Like, is it
yes,
just kind of something to do?
they're
Yeah.
just like, ooh, a thing, and then when they see a thing, they bite it to see if they like the thing. That's just what they do. They bite things. That's their way of investigating, like a
Annette says,
baby or a dog.
Stefan, don't make me send Jenna in there to flick your nose. That's quite the threat.
Certainly wouldn't want my nose to be flicked.
God. Yeah. So I'm sorry we can't really give you a good option for snail plant algae control. I mean, clearly, like I am not maybe the best person to ask about hair algae control. Oh God, that tank looks so bad. I
When are you gonna
swear
fix that
I'm
tank?
tearing it down soon. I have a plan in place.
Make better use of that Chihiros.
I know. So I bought some tissue cultures from Osama at the Clash.
Nice.
And I'm probably going to order some from the co-op because I love tissue cultures. Either that or I'll get them from the Reef, which is a store in Indianapolis. I have Jake pick them up for me. So I love tropical tissue cultures. They are the best quality. I mean, yeah, that, and I harvested from this tank, which I completely redid, and it already looks good again. So I harvested about a clump of, I don't know, that big of a Nubius nana petite. So I think I'm just going to rescape it with that. I'm going to rip out all the rocks from there. I'm going to replace them with Dragonstone, which doesn't affect your KH. I ordered a new filter intake pipe for that, a Chihiro's intake that's shorter because it's just too low and I don't think the circulation is good in the tank. I think that's part of the problem. I refilled the CO2, so the CO2 will be in place. And then Jake and I are going to plumb, what's it called? An inline reactor into it because I just like those better for CO2. I like them a lot better than the in-tank diffusers. I mean, not reactor, I'm sorry, diffuser. I like the
either one. I mean, I know you like the misting.
Yeah, I like the diffusers, and I like the Nylac G one. I think it works really well. It's not expensive. It lasts forever. It's just a product I really enjoy. So
holy crap! Craig said a spray paint can exploded in my fish room yesterday. I lost a dozen fish.
Oh, what even happened? I can't imagine that happening. Wow.
Said did you moisture rusted the can out?
Oh wow! How old was that spray can?
Wow. I probably have some outside that are that old, but I don't have them near my tanks, and I know to not have them near my tanks. I guess now, not that I would keep spray paint in the fish room, but I am known to like work on a project or something, and then like those project materials now live at the project site until it's time for the next project.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not great about putting my shit away. Like, that's just not something I'm good at. So Foxanne asks, did you order your Oko stone from Aquarocks, Colorado? I love the selection of Oko stone they sent me. I love Aquarocks, Colorado, but this did not come from them. This came from when I was in the aquascaping contest for Aquashella, and I got just boxes and boxes and boxes of Dragonstone, not Oko stone. I don't remember what Oko stone looks like.
It's Dragonstone. It's
is it? Is it another name for it?
Well, there's two types.
Relevant.
There's one that is like supposedly the true Dragonstone, Oko stone, and then there's some that look similar. I don't remember if there is like a real difference other than just the location. Both of them I know are inert.
They're very.
I have no idea what I have.
Dirty, like sort of clay, but this is pre-washed already because we washed it. Nice. And it has kind of a reddish tinge to it, but I have a ton of it and it's sitting on my porch, so I'm going to use it for that. So that's my plan. I've been saying that I'm going to redo that tank for a long time now.
You've really been farming the algae in there for a while.
Well, I mean, I was about to change it, and then I realized that all of the fish in there had spawned. And the other thing is I am going to somehow get rid of the fish that are in there because, I've always wanted a tank full of either like neons or cardinals. I know it's basic, but I've just always wanted it. And Jake, when we were at the Clash, there were a couple of scapes that had like just a tank full of neons or cardinals. And he's like, oh, what fish is that? We should get those. So,
I mean, there's a reason fish get the title of basic, and it's because everybody loves them.
I mean, I've kept cardinals before, but I've never had the discipline to do only that fish in a tank. But I have the discipline now because I have my rainbows and they are the focus of my fish existence. So, which by the way, don't ever try to keep cardinals and rainbows together. It doesn't work. The cardinals will cower at the back. They're not happy. So
I can speak from experience. They sort of just stayed in place in one area, like you just Photoshop some fish in your tank. They were even more shy than the pseudomcgills. The pseudomcgills, like everyone says, don't keep the pseudomcgills and rainbows together, and I wouldn't do that again. But
I wouldn't do
for
that either.
some unknown reason,
Yeah.
it was working really well in that tank, and I'm not
Yeah,
going to replicate it, but
I
wouldn't
have not
advise
had
people
good.
try.
I have not had good success keeping pseudomcgills and melanotanids together. So that would be melanotania, chalathurina, or glossolepis. That they're all part of a clade. But I have not had good luck keeping those with pseudomcgills. They cower in the back. They're not
Yeah.
happy. They sort of gradually disappear because they're not getting enough to eat. And cardinals are the same way, only worse. Like they just really cower in the back. So, I mean, there are things you can keep with cardinals, obviously, but rainbows are not one of them. So Oinky asks, what our opinion of Ceche whale canisters is. I don't know. I haven't kept them. I haven't had one. I've had other Ceche products. I have a Ceche pump, which seems to be high quality. I have had Ceche heaters before. They lasted as long as other heaters do, which is to say not that long because heaters all suck. But I don't know anything about their canister. I don't know anyone who's used one. I couldn't even tell you what they look like. I don't know. Steven, have you heard anything?
Not. I only have used the FX and the Fluval 400 series canisters.
Yeah.
I'm just like bucket with pump and hoses. That's fine. If you try to overcomplicate it, it's probably gonna be annoying in some way.
I mean, I have used the Fluval 400 series. I've used a Marineland, which I did not like. Right now I have FX and I have Owaza Thermomasters. I like both of those for different reasons. I do think that the FX is a higher quality filter.
It's a big, strong bucket.
Yeah, it's got a good motor. I like that you don't have to prime it. Just starts.
Nice and tucked away in my cabinet until I'm like, oh, it's been about a year. I guess I should probably open this up.
Yeah,
oh, that's
for
gross.
the Owaza, I really do like the integrated heater, which actually is the only heater I've ever had that has lasted more than a season.
I guess it never gets below the water line, right?
And I think that's the magic of it. It's always just contained in that canister. And so it's always done well. It's not a special heater or anything. It's an ordinary, I think it's a glass heater. There's nothing magic about it. But because it doesn't have that stress, it's really nice. I mean, it's still plugged into an Inkbird because I don't trust any heater. But Fluval, just make an integrated heater. Come on. And then your filter would be perfect.
And Fluval looks at you and says, why?
I mean, I don't know what the Ceche whale costs, but if it's anything like other Ceche products, it's very expensive. And for that money, I would just get a Fluval.
Ceche is very proud of their pumps.
And I have a Ceche pump, and it is pretty nice. It is very heavy duty, but it's expensive. I mean, it was like $100. So, I don't know.
So we had
I'd have to hear some more experience before I bought one.
I just saw a new person has joined us. They are Brazilian, and
welcome.
I think they were saying here we go. Nope, I had it. Here it is. Mascara de Lobo. I'm probably butchered that. Sorry, but Brazilian use. I'm assuming that's like that's aquariums or
aquariums
as therapy for my depression and to escape my health problems. It's a very common theme, it's kind of the same for me. It's definitely an antidepressant, keeps me busy.
Yeah, it does, makes us happy, and we've met a lot of friends through this, and that makes me happy too.
So welcome. You are in good company with a lot of like-minded individuals.
I love how international this stream has gotten. We've got Rebecca here. We've got Aquatics Fanatics UK.
Yeah.
Now we have a Brazilian. This is very exciting. I love it.
Awesome.
Mike says he uses aquariums to make his stress even worse. I mean, there's that.
I've done that before too. I don't recommend it at all.
The hobby giveth and the hobby taketh away. So Aquatics Fanatic says, how come the new Eheim heaters are the same length as a lightsaber? I don't have any of
I think
those.
the old Eheim heaters were also the length of a lightsaber. I have a couple of those in the 90, and yeah, they're
I bought
very
a
long.
couple of these Fluval E200s, which I'm going to put into this tank, and they are really enormous. I mean, wow. Really, really, really enormous.
I bought one of those Seche in a what's it called, near field contact heaters, the ones where you can change the settings wirelessly, just to test it. I haven't even opened it because I look at this thing and I'm like, why? But when I saw it, I'm like, I have to get one just so I'm not like crapping on it without using it. So I'll test it eventually, but I'm just thinking you can only change the temperature wirelessly. Like, why would they do that?
Yeah. I mean, I already have enough apps right now because the Inkbird's on an app and the lights are on an app and the CO2's on an app. And
I want more apps too.
I mean, I like apps. I'm pro app. I don't know. I just want heaters that don't break.
I have like 4 apps just to control all the various brands of smart plugs that I've ordered.
Scotty has caught up. Scotty heats the room. He spent $8,000 today to get better heat for his fish. I mean, it's not the worst idea, but I live in an old drafty house, and honestly, it's impossible to get this house above 65 degrees during the coldest part of winter.
And wait a minute. Corey says you can only change the temp wirelessly and not when the top of it is underwater, so it can't even trend. Can we just have a good heater? Like, can we just focus all of our attention on making
so many heaters, and they've all broken except for those Awaza heaters that are, and there's nothing fancy about them. They are glass heaters, but I think because they have that constant environment, they just haven't died. But every other heater I've gotten, I just kind of know that like I'm going to have to replace them. And thankfully, I mean, I do have Inkbirds, but my heaters have always failed off. And I think it's because like anytime I have like a power surge or like, you know, my power goes out and comes back on, which isn't that often, but it fries the heaters. So I think, I mean, in 4 years that this tank has been up, this will be I don't know, maybe 50 heater. So
I've got Eheim Jaegers in the 90, and they're going on 5 years too. Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of flow in a rainbow tank with an FX6.
Yeah, I mean, so the first heaters I put on here, they're still there. They died right away. They were these inline heaters that you plumbed in. I don't even think they make them anymore. Those died after like a month, both of them. So
yeah. Jenna says Steven and I are not lizards and cannot live in a heated room.
Let me tell you this. If I could get this house to 75 degrees year round, I would be so happy because I am a lizard and I would be very, very happy to be.
I'm a large man. I require refrigeration.
I do a lot of hot yoga. I can handle heat really, really well. I hate the cold, but I live in a drafty old house. I just can't make it hotter. I don't have a separate fish room. This is, you know, this is my this is my dining room. This is my dining room table I'm sitting at. So, you know, I don't think Jake wants it to be 75 degrees either. Though honestly, if it were like 72, he'd be fine. He gets cold.
So Scotty can actually concentrate the heat where the fish are.
Because he has,
yeah, even if I had a fish room, I feel like I would spend I would spend less time in an uncomfortable fish room, and I would just pay the electric bill for all the freaking heaters in there. Or maybe I find myself gravitating to more temperate fish. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Like Chris Ladd just said, I just got fish that don't need heaters. Problem solved.
yeah, there you go. I mean, sure. And there are a lot of
Yeah.
beautiful fish that don't need heaters. Rainbows just don't. 75 is good temperature for them. They could go a little bit lower, but not much lower. They don't want to be that hot either. Like, they don't want to be 80 degrees.
No, they don't want to be 68 either.
Yeah. I mean, probably, I don't think I would keep them long term below 72 or so. So Jeff says 76 is your required living temp space. Man, that sounds great. I would love that. And you're fit. You don't need a heater at all. A lot of fish are very happy at 76. So Corey says, I'm in my fish room. I have it so when I walk in, I turn on the AC. Then at 5 p.m., the heat is back on. And at 9 p.m., the heat is back on. So basically, it's perfect at 72 or so while I'm there. That sounds pretty good. That's
Yeah,
pretty
that's a good idea.
ideal. Yeah, and the water has a really high specific heat, especially if you have big tanks. It'll stay warm for quite a while. I just live in a really drafty old house, and just to give you some idea of how cold it is, I mean, last year, the week I was in Panama, which was totally clutch, it got down to, I think, minus 20 here for a week. The lows of minus 20, not constantly minus 20. And I had my office door shut because I wanted to concentrate the heat as much as possible. And all of my African violets died in my office.
I mean, that's
They
a
got
bad
too
cold.
Yeah, I mean,
They're
it's so
like people who like the
cold.
cold. When they say they like the cold, they don't mean they like minus 20.
No, nobody likes minus 20. There is nobody who likes minus 20. It's so cold, your body hurts. Your eyelashes will freeze together. I mean, it's not fun.
Oh, we got a
So,
metric versus freedom units war going on.
oh! So Rebecca says her fish room at the university is 26 Celsius. That is very toasty. That is very toasty.
Mm.
Oh, but as Matt has shown us, Fishfam link, if you type in FFL 25C to Fahrenheit, Fishfam link will convert it for you.
Yep, it'll convert gallons and liters for you too.
That's right. I love that. That's great. That's a great feature. And if you like Fishfam link, you can support it through Patreon. And one of our mods can drop the link. Steven and I are both proud supporters of fishfam.link. And we raised a lot of money for Fishfam Link at the Clash.
Yeah, we
That was
did.
nice. Especially
Lots
my
of
plants.
crafty things and plants.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Annette made some things, and Jenna did, and Dee Dee did, and then you brought plants, I brought plants, Brant and Lightcap sent us plants.
Right.
Scotty bought us some plants.
Yeah.
A big pile of plants.
Yeah, it was a good thing. So I think I'm going to do that next year at the Clash too. I'm going to bring plants to sell for fishfam.link because I want to support fishfam.link. So, and I don't want to sell plants in a way that requires me to provide customer service. I don't want to care. So,
there's a question for Matt from Corey. I like the Fishfam link, but it can be too spammy on my stream. Is there a way to turn features on off per stream? Conversion to Celsius Fahrenheit would be awesome. I bet Matt can do that, but
I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do anything, but Matt knows how to do many things. So
yeah, the spammy part was just like I think he had one. There was a bot that his own bot. I don't know which, if it's Streamlabs or Elements or whatever, or that thanks you for a super chat, and then like Fishfam link would thank you for a super chat, so it doubled up. Which in a big stream with a bunch of people talking, it can clutter, but there are some useful stuff for sure. It would be nice to yeah, it was Jeff Kane's fault typing Fishfam link stats. We can blame Jeff Kane for that.
I can never catch that stream live because I'm always cooking dinner for Jake then. So, but
I'm always waiting for dinner.
Well, I mean, yeah, because you're not cooking your own dinner. So, I try to catch the replay of that one. So, but I can't catch it live. That's okay. There's really never a good time for streams, right? Always someone will be unhappy when it is. That's just how that works. You can never make everyone happy.
You can make me happy though. That's fine. Just focus on me.
True. Just focus on Steven. Just make him happy.
So your other plants that you bought, I think you bought a lot of the same things or a few of the same things.
Yeah.
Like you bought some Ariel Collin Vietnam, right?
No, I didn't buy that. I have tried Ariel Collins before. I can't grow them. My water's too hard. I have KH6. They really need low KH. And I have seen they don't even necessarily need CO2, but they need like a KH of 1. So,
Yeah.
you know, I just don't have that. I bought Loganandra Miboldi Red. I bought that from Grant. And
Oh yeah, me too.
in here. It seems to be doing just fine. I also bought Bulbidus Mini. And, you know, that's right
Is it
there.
doing okay? Because mine did nothing.
I glued it to a rock and it's doing nothing, but I don't expect it to do much very fast. You know, we'll see. I kind of bought it because I just wanted to support Grant because he just had a baby, you know.
So, man, mine's, doing this thing, but there's some new growth in the center, so maybe something will happen. But yeah.
Yeah. So I bought those 2, and then I bought the tissue cultures from Osama. And I know those will do well. They're Tropica tissue cultures. I love Tropica tissue cultures. They are the best. They're the best value. They're the best quality. I love them. Why would you not use a tissue culture when you can use a tissue culture? I don't know.
What if you have a tank full of giant osteogaster cories that just like bump into every plant and don't give a crap what you put in the substrate?
I don't think that you're going to be better off using a non-tissue culture, though. I think that that's just the life of having cories. But I would say that if you have fish that are a pain in the ass, if you want your foregrounds to stay rooted, a trick I learned from Bentley Pasco, which does work.
The glass
plates. Yeah, weight it down with glass plates. It absolutely works. Keep it there for like 6 weeks. Don't move it. Don't be tempted to move it, and it will root. I had a gorgeous lawn of Monte Carlo in here until I got tired of maintaining Monte Carlo. But it works. It absolutely works. The glass plates, just get glass plates off Amazon. Somebody's mentioned that they use an old picture, like from a picture frame.
Yeah, that's what I did. Dollar store to get picture frames and just take the glass out of it. Yeah,
that works too. But it totally works. So I imagine that would work with other plants that, are difficult to keep rooted because of your cories. And once they're rooted, they'll be fine. Or you could just not get those cories. I mean,
no, that's not an option.
It's an option. I'm done with buying cories because, they're fine, but like I would rather just get more rainbows. I mean,
yeah, that too. But rainbows have a limitation. You need long, larger tanks. But like I see a group of cories, I'm like, I'm gonna put this in a 10-gallon.
I'm really only interested in cheap cories. I'm just not interested in like fancy cories.
Catfish be superior.
No, there's a lot of really inferior catfish, like plecos. Ugh. No,
cuckoo cats.
Of course, the bot disagrees, hence the constant battle.
So that Japanese marble Anubias, $65.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I also bought the Nana Pinto.
Yep, Nana Pinto's doing okay up there.
Oh yeah, mine's doing good. It's right. It's right there. It's on a rock. It's fine. Has it grown at all? No, but like, give it a moment.
Yeah, not melting.
I don't know. That wasn't that expensive. That was like $15. Yours was like really expensive.
Yeah, Nana Pinto was 15 and 65. Well, when I said I wanted it, I didn't know it was 65, and then I was like, I still want it.
That's the way that goes. I was not
Yeah.
about to buy a $65 Nubius. I just don't care that much. But I did get the Nana Pinto one. We'll see how it does. I mean, you know, I won't be crushed if it does nothing. It'll do something though. So.
And then update on the, because I bought some marble boosts at the auction.
Oh yeah.
Well, because Scotty was the auctioneer. He said Bucephalandra, 3 plants, and then I heard the word 3, and I heard the word pot, and I'm like, ooh, 3, like nice size, and I got him for $10, yay! And then I
That's
got
a good deal.
no, it was just a pot, 1 pot with 3, not in that
Oh.
great a shape.
Scotty, be a better auctioneer. Why do you have to suck so much?
I
Come
need to
on.
be a better buyer and not just like raise my bidder
No,
card
this
while
is
doing something
Scotty's
else
fault.
and
This is
refusing to put the
Scotty's
bidder card down until I'm told.
You know, I didn't go to the auction. We had to leave because we had to work. Jake
So
had to work
Boost
on
Bowl, I'm actually gonna have to start trimming
the
this soon.
Boost Bowl looks great. It's doing really well.
Yep.
Hashtag blame Scotty. Love it. That looks really good. That looks really good. Is that the one? Does that have low pH water in it?
It's got RO water, and then I add some GH boosts like calcium and magnesium sulfate and potassium sulfate, just a little bit. To I think maybe the GH is like 3 degrees in here. And
Does anything live in there? Any creatures?
Snails.
All
and
right.
they well, I had some diatoms on some of them that I pulled out, so I'm like, all right, I'll deploy pond snails.
All right.
And the ram's horn snails, and so that's all that's in there right now. Haven't put anything else in there yet. I mean, it's a 3-gallon bowl, so really, what am I gonna do? Shrimp, maybe.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
But yeah, here's the that marbled boost that I bought right there in the center. It's getting some rehab right now.
Oh yeah. Well, there you go. Boost Bowl.
It's there.
Not a huge Boost fan, so
how can you not be? Look at it. When it's doing well, it's doing really well.
I don't know. I just think it looks a lot better.
But the variety with boosts. Once you find the ones that don't just absolutely hate.
Magic Super Sensitive Zombie Crush and the names, they're so absurd.
Just make up your own names.
Just make them up. And Steve.
Yeah. There you go. Just look at it. Exactly. Just look at it.
Just look at it.
Look at it.
Look at it.
Love the Boost. Yeah, Boost doesn't like to be underwater. Doesn't like to be waterboarded. So you kind of have to trick it into thinking it's not.
Yeah, and it really is an algae magnet. It is really, really an algae magnet. It doesn't do enough tricks for me, Geek Boy says. It's true.
But give it a crap ton of CO2 and bring the light down to barely can see it, and it's very happy.
Yeah, I'm probably blasting it with too much Chihiro's light. So, you know.
Yeah.
But I do have a lot of boost in that tank. But I just don't want to give it to anyone because I don't like to give people plants that, have been infected with algae.
Yeah, it's not ideal. It's kind of an
I'm probably just going to throw it all out. I'm probably just going to throw it all out.
I ordered more boost from the Wet Spot was having a sale on Saturday.
I've never bought plants from them.
Cosmin had a question and I missed it.
Oh God, sorry.
But I got watermelon YouTubers. Smiley emojis as an alert. Okay, let's go back.
And coconut and Santa. I don't even know what all those are.
I need a Control F. How far back do I need to? Okay, here we go. Can anyone suggest a peroxide regimen for a planted tank with cladophora infestation? No fish, no shrimp for now.
Just if you want to do peroxide, there are a couple of things you can do. If like it's on hardscape or like it's Anubias on a rock or something, you can just take it out of the tank and give it a quick dip and it's fine. Otherwise, you can fill a syringe with peroxide just straight and you can squirt it on it. But that kind of algae, I mean, I would manually remove as much as you could. If you have badly infected leaves, just cut them off and throw them out.
Mhm.
Like Anubias, you can cut it completely down to the rhizome. It's fine. It'll
Yeah,
come
I
back
have
up.
never had a cladophora infestation on plants, only on wood
Hard.
and rocks.
Yeah. And
And
that,
at that point,
yeah,
it's kind of there to stay, but you can keep it
yeah.
in check. If it's on plants, though, you just kind of indiscriminately cut those leaves off. Same with
Yeah.
blackbeard.
I think it's always better for plants that are infected with algae to just cut them out and throw them out rather than trying to like rescue them with peroxide or God forbid an XL overdose, which I don't do that. It's poison. Don't do
Yeah, unpopular opinion maybe, but I'm kind of glad these glutaraldehyde formulas are being taken off the market. Like
yeah. It's yeah.
I just
I
think there's
just
better ways to control algae than like doing a shotgun
yeah, I mean
poisoning of the tank.
it's not great for your fish. It's not, I mean, it's not great for humans. It's kind of a nasty chemical. Whereas peroxide breaks down into water and oxygen. So it's safe enough for your fish. But the syringe method does work pretty well because you can kind of target where you put it. But
Yeah,
if
you just
I
got to do it
uh,
multiple times in a row. And like I do the syringe method with peroxide. I stop the flow and I syringe it. And honestly, it's I mean, I'm not going to say put all the peroxide in there, but when you do that spot treatment with no flow, it's kind of hard to overdose because it all like dissociates pretty quickly in the water, bubbles out as oxygen. As long as you're not letting it flow through your filter and get all up on your bacteria and stuff like that, it seems fairly safe. I just
yeah,
like to do multiple treatments over a span of a few days.
yeah, I don't think you need to worry about overdosing it at all. It's just something I never bother with because if I have algae infected leaves, I just cut them out and throw them out. I mean,
Yeah.
plants will grow back. I would rather them put their energy into making a clean new leaf.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
I never bother with it. But hardscape, that's worth cleaning up, you know.
You got some people in chat that want your boost.
Well, too fucking bad.
Algae.
I'm throwing it out. Deal. I mean, though Rebecca points out that it's nice in a terrarium. Maybe I'll put it in one of my Owaza
Yeah,
biorbs.
you can
Maybe I'll do
kill
that.
the algae like that.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I have 2 Owaza biorbs, and I think I'm gonna buy a third for my birthday if they have one at the Reef in Indianapolis because I heard Usama said they're discontinuing them, which I get because here's the thing: they're way overpriced for what they are. But darn it, do I like them? I
What
really
is
love them.
what's overpriced?
The Owaza biorbs
Oh,
for
yeah, yeah, yeah,
terrariums.
yeah.
I love them
They
though.
look
They're
they really
so
look really
cool.
nice.
They
I
look
like the
really great.
automated misting and stuff, the
And
fogging of
they
it.
just work. They just
Yeah.
work. And they look so cool. And I've room for one more. And Jake's like, you should get another one. So I think I might buy one for my birthday. That's in December, if they have one. If they don't, oh well. So Moose asks, does anyone else pronounce Boucher? I mean, maybe now I will. I kind of like that. Boucher.
I mean, I'm
It
not a
sounds,
stickler for pronunciation
sounds
because
fancy.
no one really knows how to say all these things perfectly
I mean,
consistently.
George Farmer likes to say Bucephalandra, which would be the Greek pronunciation, like with classical Greek pronunciation.
You
I like to
know,
say Bucephalandra personally, but a lot of people like to say Bucephalandra
that's yeah.
or Boos. I just don't really like Boos. That has nothing to do with the pronunciation. I just don't really like it. Just thought I'd add that. June says that if I had pleco, or if I had what kind of pleco? Uh, the bushy nose plecos. I'd have no algae. But the problem is I'd have bushy nose plecos.
They don't eat all the algae.
They don't eat all the algae and they do rasp at your swords.
Yeah, like I
And
have that
and some of your
green
grip.
dust. going on, and Tom Barr said a bushy nose pleco is the perfect solution to that. And I have one, but I'm not putting it in that tank.
Yeah.
I have a brand new Haydai Pearl sword in there,
Oh,
variegated, and I
I
want
love
that to
Haydai Pearl. That is a great sword. That's the best sword. Do you have the variegated Haydai Pearl?
supposedly. I'll send you a picture. Well, I mean, I get
Send me a picture
nostalgia
because
off
I
of
want to
it.
know if it looks different than mine. Because I love my
I
Haydai
don't think it
Pearl.
does.
Dee Dee, did you end up buying that Haydai Pearl sword? Is Dee Dee in the chat? I don't know. If so, did you end up buying that Haydai Pearl for me? Let me know. Because I had one of them at the fishfam.link table,
Mm.
and she was thinking of buying it. But if she didn't, next one I get, I'll send her. So it's the best sword. It's very well behaved.
Boucher or Boucher? Yeah,
Boucher.
a hard ch. Boucher. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you should pronounce it how it makes you happy.
Yeah, and you can name your boost whatever you want to.
You name it Steve.
So Scotty says, I think I'm ready to completely rip out all the plants from my 40 breeder CO2 tank, start over, putting in dividers and tags so I can keep track of what everything
That's
is.
the worst idea I've ever heard in my life. Don't do that. Why would you do that? Just fucking enjoy your hobby, Scotty.
He
Just
wants
have
to
a
know what
hobby
his
you enjoy.
he wants to be able to identify his plants, and I'm that way too, but there are certain things for like the boosts that I have, I don't know what they're called anymore. I mix them together. Same with Crypt.
I cannot stress this enough. Your tank is not a stamp collection. Like
It's
not a stamp collection. You're not organizing a collection. You're supposed to be growing Escape. It's a garden. It should be beautiful.
if identification is your only issue in the tank, that's not a reason to start over. But
it's not
if everything is kind of going to crap and it's algae riddled and like you just need to like cull some plants out of there,
that's a good reason to start over.
Yeah.
If your tank is ugly and you don't like the way it looks, that's a good reason to start over. But it's
Luke
not
says, Scotty, you just need to be able to recognize things. They all look different.
Boy, that is a true statement, Luke. They do all look different. You know, it's like when I'm at the Keystone Clash, I'm like, I just can't tell Steven and Annette apart. Why don't they wear a label? I mean, like, you just need to recognize their faces. I mean, they look different. You need to remember kind of where you planted things. And
and I lose track of things. And like the Crypt tank I have, there are so many variations that look like Wind TI. And if you in the right environment, they all kind of converge and look like the same Wind TI. And I'm not going to keep track of what I bought. But if it looks different,
I don't have very many varieties of crypts. That's how I can tell them apart.
Yeah, that helps.
Because, especially ones that look alike, like all the Wendy-eye type ones, they don't all look alike. So I just don't have all of them. But if you want to like hard reset your 40 just so you can tell all your plants apart, just so you can sell them at auction, like I don't want to tell you you're doing your hobby wrong, but I'm here to tell you you're doing your hobby wrong. Like
bad, Scotty.
Bad, Scotty. Bad.
It's do the hobby our way.
Do it better. Do better, Scotty. Do better. Plus, and from a practical standpoint, if you have all those dividers, you're not going to have very good circulation. And poor circulation is a great way to get algae.
Zen suggested pots, and we're back full circle.
Ah, Jesus fucking Christ.
So Rebecca says, Crypts, I assume there's also a lot of difference in the flower. Yeah, in some cases, that's like the only way you can definitively identify.
And a lot of difference is kind of overstating it. There's some difference in the flower. I wouldn't say a lot of difference.
Yeah, when I say that's the only way you can identify it, I don't mean me. Yeah. I'm not going to look at a flower and be like, oh, that's clearly this. Yeah.
Well, Scotty wants to know what he's giving people, not selling people. And I would say if you're giving it to them for free, they can't expect any customer service. And that includes a name. I mean, they just get what they get.
That's why I do member plants. It's like, well, my customer service with member plants is if the post office delays it or like I somehow screw up the weather and don't pack it right and they arrive dead, I'll reship. But
Yeah.
that's
You
the
can also
extent.
just label it as Crypt
I
SP.
do.
Yep.
Crypt
And I do
SP.
that too. Rotala SP. That's good.
And
So
that certain
good enough.
sunset
I had
sunset plant.
Marcelea SP because I have mixed up Granada and Hirsuta.
Mm.
Whatever. It's Marcelea SP. You get
Oh,
what
that
you
reminds
get.
me. There was a question earlier in the chat, and I forgot who. Someone was looking for crinum natans, and I forgot to highlight that question. If anyone knows how to get it, I don't.
I mean, maybe Boost Plant would have it. I don't think the co-op has that one. That's a really cool plant.
Well, there was Aquatic Fanatics UK asking about it. I just saw.
Oh
So,
God! Well then, boy, I really
yeah.
can't. I don't know where to buy things in the UK. Sorry, but maybe Rebecca would know. She's in the UK. I don't
She
know
says
what
SP saves so much. We need more of that. If unsure, go to the next reliable level. Yeah,
that's right.
Well, it is better than just a blatant misidentification for sure.
Yep, it's good enough. So, also, I suggest the book by Crystal Castleman for identifying your plants. That's a really good book. Yeah. Also, I would just cut down on numbers of species that look too alike. I don't have 28 varieties of crypts in a tank that look a lot alike. As Luke pointed out earlier, there are a surprising number of Wentii varieties in the hobby. Yeah, that's very, very true. There are a lot of them.
Such as pink flamingo.
And some of them look so alike that Wentii, bronze, and green gecko. How much daylight is there between those? Or lutea? I mean, there's just not a lot of daylight between those. So pick one and grow a big chunk of that. Like I had a huge chunk of lutea right here, which I did thin out and grew back.
Speaking of Wentii variations,
it's not dead.
Tim gave me this one at the Clash.
Okay, that's the one Tim gave you.
Probably to troll me, but I'm like, thank you. I will plant this, and it's in the bedroom, so I can watch it. Like it's like 2 feet away from me. I watch it die in real time.
Well,
Ooh, I didn't know this was happening. Evil Blackbeard. That's what happens along with decay and yeah. Oh well.
Whip says he loves listening to someone tell him that there's only one way to keep fish or he's wrong. It's his favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Whip, your water is wrong. It's I don't know if I would drink that water. It's some terrible water. It's not good.
I still want a sample of that water. I would like to test everything I can. Oh, speaking of testing, I bought a new toy.
What'd you buy?
A continuous pH, ORP, and conductivity monitor with data logging. So it'll send to my phone minute by minute whatever tank I feel like monitoring. Just to dial in the
really
CO2.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah, just for funsies. I want to see what. So I have some tanks that do not use an air stone at night after the CO2 is off, and I have some that do. I would like to track some things. I also want to track redox potential. I have not done that, and I feel like that's something that maybe some people should consider paying attention to, especially if you're one of those like I do water changes every 3 months type of people.
Yeah. Or if you are convinced that like you have an iron problem in your tank, knowing the redox potential would be relevant. But the easiest way to know you have an iron deficiency is to look for chlorosis. just Google what chlorosis looks like. There are many
Yeah.
good pictures of that one. That is a real deficiency. It's where you have like the plant will like yellow on the inside with like green veins on it. That's chlorosis. That's what chlorosis looks like. If you have chlorosis, then you have an iron problem.
So this is a plant majority live stream discussion.
Yeah,
We are happily and easily derailed, but
yeah.
that's
I mean, if
generally
you
the
have
goal.
non-plant questions,
Right.
maybe you want to know Steven's like skincare regime. Like maybe you want to know like what I had for breakfast. You can ask. Like we're cool with that too. So
what is the ORP going to tell me? I don't know. It may not tell me anything I can correlate with anything, but he said at work we use that to control chlorine levels in the municipal pools. But like there are things that you can't detect with a TDS meter that aren't conductive but are still reducers, meaning they are reducing the ability of your water to like oxidize things. And I don't know if that's a big deal or not, but I'm just kind of curious what's going to tell me.
So redox potential is it's complicated and it's related to pH. So a more reducing environment would mean like there are more disulfide bonds in a protein as opposed to less disulfide bonds. It had like iron metabolism is affected. I mean, the fish are fine. They can personally regulate their own redox environment within their bodies. So I wouldn't worry about that so much. But
yeah, I think it's probably a way to test like if you're actually you have an anoxic or anaerobic environment.
Not really, because what redox is it's the flow of electrons. It has nothing to do with aerobic versus anaerobic. It just means, yeah. So redox potential that flows from high to low. The most you need to have, like what your ultimate electron acceptor is. So, like at the bottom of that, the least reduced is oxygen, molecular oxygen, and that's because oxygen is very electronegative. It pulls electrons toward it, and so in human metabolism, our ultimate electron acceptor is oxygen, and that's why the byproduct of that is water, because that's a fully reduced molecule is water. So it has nothing to do with like, I mean, it doesn't not have to do with anoxic or aerobic versus not aerobic.
Like there's probably a lot to look into for that.
Content is much.
Like I didn't buy the thing to monitor ORP. It just happens to be one of the probes that's part of the continuous monitor. But I'm like, I want to see if there's some correlation with the numbers and like how the tank is set up, and just curious.
Yeah,
stuff that I can't normally measure.
Good to know. And yeah, it's a good toy. And who knows how accurate it is the other thing, like with all these toys. I mean,
we all know a pH meter is it's like I'm not monitoring pH as much as I'm monitoring like change in pH.
I mean, I'm here, if a $10,000 pH meter is a piece of junk that gets calibrated before every single use multiple times per day, then that little $25 one you bought off Amazon is likewise crap. So
yeah, they're not that great.
So Rebecca says buffers, but how accurate is the buffer? Buffers are actually really accurate. They're very stable. The whole purpose of a buffer is that it doesn't drift in pH that much. So like if you buy a reference standard for pH 7, it's going to measure pH 7. And if it doesn't, your pH meter is off. So, I mean, different buffers have different stringencies and work at different pH ranges, but in general, I would trust a buffer more than I would trust a pH meter. So Favorite shoes. Breakfast this morning.
Thanks,
Eggnog.
Vibes, for the super chat and the derailment.
Favorite shoes. I just bought these Merrill tennis shoes. They're like their zero drop ones, so they have like no sole to them because I don't like big squishy tennis shoes. They're super comfy. They're kind of like walking barefoot. I like those. So I would recommend those. They also don't make me any taller, which is nice because Jake's really short. So
My favorite
breakfast
shoes
this
are
morning.
socks.
Yeah, in the house I don't like to wear shoes, but like when I'm outside, I want to wear shoes. Breakfast this morning I had toast and eggnog. I'm pro eggnog at Christmas time. I don't really want eggnog in June.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah.
No eggnog for me. Breakfast, skipped as usual.
Yeah. Yeah,
Caffeine.
I didn't eat that
I had
toast
caffeine for
until
breakfast.
I didn't eat the toast until 1:30. But it was still the first thing I ate today. So
Okay. Well, yeah.
I went to yoga first, so after that I had toast.
Geek says, just playing with random probes.
There you go.
I do like probes. Yeah. What I really would like to, I got a chance to borrow a par meter for a little while. I would like really to own my own par meter, but they're $500. I can't bring myself to buy that. But hey, anyone feel free to send me one.
I just feel like $500 for your hobby. There are a lot of ways it could be better spent.
A light.
Yeah, or fish.
Yeah, fish is probably the number one way to spend that.
I mean, there are just a lot of better ways to spend $500 for your hobby. So you buy another Owaza Bioorb. I mean, that's what I would do. But yeah, it's a lot of money. I know that there are some clubs that have one that is shared that you can check out from your club. That's a pretty cool thing, especially like marine clubs, because par is very important for marine people because corals are very light hungry, a lot of them.
I could get one CW 111 $500. So Zen, you mentioned pink flamingo crypts earlier, but did you say how yours were doing? Bad.
You didn't yell at them enough. Maybe Zenny would yell at them for you. It's a service she provides.
Good idea. They need some verbal abuse or something.
I can't imagine ever spending $500 on one Cory.
No.
That's a lot. I mean, I guess if you were really confident, you could both breed that Cory and sell its offspring, maybe, but
if you're quick about it and you're skilled and you kind of know what to do, you can get in before, it becomes another like $20 Cory at some point. I don't know.
I just feel like I feel like investing in like high dollar Corys is like this side of cryptocurrency for investment. I mean, I don't know. It's pretty
Cory coin.
Cory coin.
Crap, they reclassified them. Now they're worthless.
You heard it here first.
Stupid
the new crypto
gastrodermis coin is worthless.
Probably. I mean, maybe better than NFTs.
Yeah, everything's better than NFTs. Gotta get me them Doge cats.
Worth of cottage cheese.
Oh,
I mean, I like cottage cheese. I don't know. I would say that cottage cheese is just fine. I can't be enthusiastic about it. I can't hate it. It's just fine. It's kind of
enthusiastic hatred.
I guess. I mean, for me, it's just like easy protein that requires no meat or thought.
Nope.
Stephen doesn't want to eat it though, so there you go. I don't know anyone besides Vibes who's enthusiastic about cottage cheese.
I think Gina eats it
Is
too.
she?
Or at least maybe out of support for Vibes.
There's a small but enthusiastic contingency. I love it.
And Big Steve and Ed, I forgot where they went, the Windmill, I think, and they tried cottage cheese with apple butter because that's a thing in Pennsylvania.
I like cottage cheese with fruit. I mean, back when I could eat pineapple, I liked it with pineapple chunks. I like it with peaches or berries.
I
I'm
just like the peaches and the berries and the pineapple chunks. You
without the
don't
cottage
need to ruin it.
You don't really like any creamy foods though. Like, do you even like whipped cream?
Yeah,
Okay, that's something.
it's not lumpy and gross.
Okay, okay.
And whipped cream is usually sweetened.
It's true. It's true. I mean,
S-
people make desserts out of cottage cheese. I guess when I go to Germany, they have something there called quark, which is like a fresh cheese.
Well, I mean,
It's a
that's fine using that kind of stuff for texture in other things. Like even in that case, I despise cream cheese, but when used properly for texture purposes, and
yeah, like in a Danish.
yeah,
I'm gonna eat so many
mm.
pastries when I'm in Germany. I'm going to be 10 pounds heavier when I come back. I'm gonna eat nothing but pastry.
So Big Steve said, did we answer the claudophora question? How to get it off wood?
Peroxide.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
peroxide, just
Yeah, just
multiple
a quick
doses.
you could spray it if you have like a big piece of wood and you can spray it with a spray bottle. That works. Or you could
If you
just
got
pour some on.
shrimp in there, they'll kind of meet you halfway, and once it really starts to gray out or turn red, they'll
Yeah,
start eating it
yeah,
off too.
yeah. If it's in your tank and you can't get it out, you can use a syringe. That works really well.
Now it's not when we say get rid of it, we're not saying like eradicate it. It's never coming back because
Because
it's
it could come
there. It
it could come.
exists in spores. It gets in the air. It's an evil algae. But
Mm. Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. I think the worst algae is blackbeard algae, which I have not had in a very long time.
yeah,
Not
Blackbeard
not since I've
is
lived here.
gross.
I for some reason this water doesn't grow it. I don't know why. I have dealt with my share of it. It's it's bad. It's bad. If you get blackbeard algae on a leaf of a plant, just cut it off and throw it out. Don't even try.
Another new name. Welcome in Coach
Hello, welcome, coach.
HCCMTB. Recently bought a continuous pH monitoring system as well. Loving it so far.
Cool.
Adding filter flow meters also. Yeah, test all the things.
Wow.
Just
High tech trick out your tank. Why not? Have a meter for
I
everything.
like data, even if I don't understand why I would even test it. Like the ORP, like I barely understand anything about that and why I'm going to test it, but I've got it. So let's
Yeah.
just stick that probe in there
Surprisingly,
too.
I mean I have a PhD in science. I don't care about tank data. I
Data is
don't.
sexy. I
Yes.
might even make a spreadsheet.
Oh God. There is nothing dudes love more than making spreadsheets for their hobby. It is the ultimate expression of dude hobby. I mean, how does your hobby even exist if you can't put it in a spreadsheet?
Let's
Mm.
compare spreadsheets.
Dudes love spreadsheets for their hobby. I don't. That brings me no pleasure. Oh, Vibe says, I'm not everyone's friend, but if I gave up cottage cheese, you know what? Don't ever give up cottage cheese. It brings you joy, it brings you happiness. You just keep on doing it. Don't stop.
It's okay to like weird things. I think
That's
frequently
right.
Vibes and I don't agree on food.
That's right. I don't know if Vibes has some weird food combos.
He's adventurous.
I mean,
Vibes, is there a food that you just absolutely loathe? Like you just
yeah, well, I
cannot
want
eat?
to know what foods you hate. I mean, I have I have a lot of food allergies. So Jenna says, is this why Steven loves me? Because data? I mean,
It
I don't
helps.
know. I'm pretty sure that's not why Jake loves me. I mean, oddly
I
enough,
mean,
Jake is not really into spreadsheets either. We have that in common. We're not very organized people.
I like having them. I don't like making them.
No,
For when I first got into the hobby, I did have a spreadsheet because I only had like a half a dozen
yeah.
tanks, and so I was still using the liquid test. Had the patience for that, and I was testing frequently. I just wanted to see like how things were changing and how things were looking, and sort of dial in like water change routines. And I was doing individual schedules on water changes, and that went away fast too. I'm just like, well, my water's clean.
Yeah.
Ones that
I
don't
mean,
need
and,
them.
you also learn how to look at your plants. You learn how to watch your fish.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell when things are off. June points out that she has to make jello for the hubby and it grosses her out. Make him rapashi instead.
Well,
That'll cure him.
I do need a magnetic stir. Those are fun.
I can't. I mean, I use magnetic stirrers every day for about 20 years of my life. And
They're not
I don't
fun
view them as
anymore.
unfun. I don't view them as any more fun than a spoon anymore. Like, it was so ubiquitous to my life that I just don't care. Yeah. I like the ones that have hot plates with them so you can heat things and stir them at the same time. And also, I prefer bigger stir bars to smaller ones. I think they work better. So I do have thoughts on them. Yeah.
Is a stir more fun or shaking the vial? So the nitrate, the API nitrate test, I don't even bother with it anymore. Who gives a crap like your exact nitrate level? Yeah, I put a strip in. Is it pink? Great. Is it like getting red as hell? Okay, let me address that.
Yeah, I mean, I have a planted tank. Like, I pretty much always need to be adding nitrates, never not adding nitrates. So it really doesn't matter what the nitrate levels are.
I know it's a big deal in saltwater, like you
should be
don't
adding
know,
more.
but
Yeah, it is different. And that's a different hobby, and it's one I don't really know enough about to like.
it's one that I promised the general public that I would attempt, and so I still
I mean,
will
I
keep
have a
that
tank
promise.
on my porch. On my porch. Corey.
TDS meter does it all.
I mean,
I
should
got
we put him in
ions in my water.
timeout? I mean, mods, should we put him in timeout? I don't know. Oh boy, if there is one piece of equipment you can totally trust, it's a $25 TDS meter you bought on Amazon.
I mean, TDS meters are simple enough that you don't have to spend big on them. It's just two conducting probes. It's like
they are
positive and negative
yeah,
ions.
they're
They're different.
useful if you have RO water that you're remineralizing, and you want to know.
Just don't try to attribute it to what your tester's saying. Like,
yeah, and also like if you really, really care about how good your RO water is, which you don't, nobody in this hobby does, because you don't need RO water. You don't need reagent grade RO water.
I just keep mine in a trash can outside.
Which nobody
becomes a problem if I want to do water change. I want to do RO water changes for some of the quarry tanks, but it's gonna get kind of cold, and I don't see putting 50-degree water in the tank during the water change unless someone's in chat's done that before. That seems pretty intense.
Well, I mean, the water out of my tap gets pretty cold in the winter, but I mix it with hot. So I mean, like when I was in the lab, the TDS, like, so we had whole building RO water, but then we would put it through another millipore system that had like 8 chambers, just so it was really, really good. Because if it was off, like experiments would fail. So that I cared about, but yeah.
I only use RO just to for those certain tanks, just to get the KH out of there. That's all I really have. But I mean, of course, there's phosphates in the water. I don't care about that.
Whatever. That doesn't
word of the chlorinator, whatever.
Getting the KH down, which I mean, from Steven and I are lucky that for most plants, our tap water is fine. I mean, you have to add GH boost to everything, but
yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah, but I have KH6 and GH6 out of the tap, and it's fine for most things. But there are some things I can't grow. So
and naturally, I keep trying to grow the things that I can't grow. Just be like, oh, let me see, let's push the limits. Like, what was the most recent one I got? The Ludwigia pink, white, whatever it's called. I forgot what the species it is. And Luke will know, but I can't do it.
Pentanal?
No,
It's Atlantis.
it's not. It's not Arcuata.
Luke will tell us.
Yeah, Luke knows. Hurry up,
But
Luke.
yeah, I mean, there's certain Mortalas they can't grow. I tried was it Xeris?
Zyre. Yeah, we did that one. Yeah, the
Just
little like
didn't. Just
palm looking thing. The three.
didn't.
Uh,
It just didn't go. It just, yeah. I just think my cage is a little too high.
Inclinata. There it is.
Inclinata. There we go. Yep, I don't even try that one. It's just, but I'm also not a huge fan of stem plants. But if I could have gotten that Xeris to grow, that would have been awesome. It's a really pretty plant, but it just, yeah. So Stan Pittman says I had to go RO because your KH was off the charts. Yeah, and when I lived in Iowa, I had KH of 22, and it was really really hard to grow things even with CO2.
Yeah.
No, but I didn't really have the means to do RO then, so I didn't. I just, there just wasn't much I could grow. Did my best, but boy, it's so much easier with KH6, man. It's
Meta and Cuba can both go to about 4 degrees. So yeah, like we're like
okay.
right on that edge of just not being able to
Yeah,
grow those little fussy.
I think 6 is probably too high for that. Yeah, just too high. But I know that if you have the right KH for those, they grow like weeds. They're not hard to grow. So that's a good
Oh,
question. What
yeah,
GH level is best for planted tanks? I
some
don't just, yeah.
the
I mean,
existence
you
of
can't
it.
have zero. Let's say like anything over like what 2 degrees.
Yeah, I mean, I
Fine.
generally do somewhere like I eyeball the powder because it's really not a
Yeah,
big deal. So somewhere between 4 to 8 and a little higher in the guppy mosh pit usually.
yeah. I mean, at a certain point, you're adding so much that you start getting like hard water stains. That's kind of annoying, but it doesn't hurt your plants.
Yeah.
I don't think that there is any plant that is upset by too much GH. It just needs some. Needs at least one or it needs like at least say like 2 degrees. I would say.
Yeah, I mean,
I've
fish
never had a problem
need
with.
more of it probably than plants do.
Yeah, and that depends on what fish you keep. So I
Yeah.
guess live bearers need more.
Hmm.
I don't know anything about live bearers. I'm not a live bearer person. For rainbows, I mean, they need some. They probably need a couple degrees. There are some rainbows that are like blackwater species. Not many, but
Yeah, I remember Luke saying boosters need more GH to color up better.
hmm.
I don't remember if there was like a number, like a
Yeah,
threshold for that.
that's. I mean, I haven't heard any numbers attached to that either. But I guess you could try pushing that a little, Steven, because you have GH boost and
Yeah.
see if it changes
I'll see what
anything.
it does. So Stan was saying his stopped at 30 drops. So I was on in chat for Jeff Pelham's live, or I think either Jeff Pelham or Elfish was live, and Jeff lives in Lansing, Michigan. They use lime softening in his water, and what that does is it reacts with the calcium carbonate. It raises the pH. It precipitates calcium carbonate, but
Mhm.
then it leaves calcium behind. And I was curious, like, what does that do to his tap water?
Well, it should
Um,
reduce your GH because they do that in my,
it doesn't though.
doesn't
His
it?
so
Because that's the whole reason they do that is to reduce the GH.
my prediction was that it was going to have low KH and high GH, and he had about 1 to 2 drops turn the like 2 degrees KH, and I think he was at about 40 drops before that GH reagent
I don't know if I
turned it
believe
green.
that. I don't
Well,
know if I
he did it live on camera, so I don't, unless there was something I wasn't seeing,
because
but
that's
that
the
was
whole
very
point of
bizarre.
that's the whole reason they soften things over lime is so people have less GH so they get less soap scum and less like hard water staining and their
But I
hard water
wonder
water
if it
heaters don't
dissolves
steam
and there's
up.
no anion for the GH to bond to, like, does it even leave a salt behind? Like if there's no KH. It was weird. It was definitely weird. I
Doesn't
just
make sense to me.
eh,
It doesn't make sense.
don't know.
I guess the whole reason they do it, because if you have a KH of like 2, which was really great, I would love that. But you have a GH of like 40, you're still going to get tons of like soap scum and like hard water scaling.
Well, what kind of salt is it leaving behind when it dissolves if there's no and I did ask him if it was expired too, and it wasn't. So
I mean, so with soap scum, it makes a salt with the soap.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because it forms an insoluble precipitate. So when the calcium and magnesium ions complex with the sodium cation or the soap cation, it
But this
forms
is
an
like
insoluble precipitate.
when Scotty was testing his water live too, and he was adding like drop after drop. I got to the
Just
point where
wonder
I'm
if
like,
that.
I don't
I don't
believe
know if I
what's
would.
happening is
I
happening.
don't.
So send me your
Here's
water.
my question: do they get a lot of soap scum? Do they get a lot of hard water staining?
Yeah, I would like to know.
Like that's a good that because if you don't, I would say that reading's not right. So
Stan said my
somebody
water
had.
company was uncomfortable when I called them on it. We don't talk about hardness.
We're not talking about that. So Oinky asked, have I ever kept Monstera in my aquariums? If so, was their growth rate the same as terrestrial potting soil? Monstera grows awesome. I
should try that.
I have Adansonii. This right here. This is also called Swiss cheese plant. It does
Cool.
awesome. I should get a little like pole on here for this to climb up, or a trellis. I also did a different Monstera. I think it was like Esculenta. That one did okay. I've seen people do Deliciosa. My only issue with Deliciosa is when I was in Panama and Costa Rica, you could see Deliciosa as like 50-foot vines crawling up trees. So I just don't understand how that's a viable houseplant. Like, it gets so big. But I've thought about growing one out of my tank. But yeah, it does great. It loves wet feet. Maybe there's some Monsteras that don't, but those for sure do. And I love the Adansonii. And you can root it from a cutting even. It'll do really well. So Zenny says, my API, GH, and test kits were 6 months old, but when I tested with a new Sarah kit, was substantially lower on GH. So also make sure your tests are current and in good condition. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
then she's asking like, does the way the kits have been stored also matter?
probably. I mean, it's just, I mean, the liquid
Cool,
kits.
dark place, basically.
Yeah, I would say.
I don't know. Dry, so excess moisture doesn't get it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been disillusioned by the API master test kit. It's not very master.
Yeah, I mean, I know that a lot of people swear by Sarah test kits. They say they're so good. I don't have.
Fluval makes a pretty comprehensive one. There's a JBJ, I think JBJ, if
Yeah, I
I
don't know.
remember correctly, is a good one.
I don't know. I mean, I've never used them. I can't say. You can calibrate your test kits though. You can make reference solutions of like nitrate. You can buy sodium nitrate. It's called pink salt. It's used for curing meats. So if you ever smoke meats or anything, you can buy potassium nitrate for that, or sodium nitrate, sorry, for that. And you can make a reference solution and you can test it yourself. You can also buy nitrate dry fertilizers, have nitrate. So it'd be potassium nitrate you can buy, and you can make a reference solution and you can test it with that. I
like
know where you can easily
putting
buy
a test strip
right?
in the water for 3 seconds and then looking at it after about 30 to 60 seconds and then moving on with my life.
You could make an ammonia reference solution. You can buy ammonia. You just have to look up like what percent ammonia it is. I don't know. I've never bought ammonia. Like, it smells terrible. I don't want to clean my house with ammonia. You can though. So Zenny says, I just wonder how some of the LFSs store them on 78-degree shelves with potential temp swings. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's why you need to also learn how to look at your tank and diagnose problems with your eyes. You need to look at your plants, see if they need to be fertilized, see if they need more CO2. You need to look at your fish. Do they look unhappy? And just doing a weekly water change solves a lot of problems. So,
For me, just having
yeah.
the routine of it. So whenever I do
Yeah.
laps, like whenever I didn't do water changes the weekend of the clash, obviously, and
Yeah.
then I got home and it just felt so awful, like
Yeah.
physically exhausted, and I skipped another one. So it was like 3 weeks between water changes, which
It
very
happened.
rare for me. And I
Yeah.
noticed nothing, you know.
I mean, I didn't do any water changes when I had COVID. That was like 6 weeks I didn't do them for. I was just too sick. Um,
Yeah.
and things were okay, but I don't know. The fish just weren't as lively, and plants just didn't look as fresh, and but I was sick, so
So Luke's saying, if I send you a video / time lapse, can we do group critique?
time lapse of what?
Yeah, I mean, sure.
I mean,
Tentatively, yeah.
I like being critical.
I mean, not this afternoon because I got to get back to work actually.
Oh, that
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah, I know. Jobs,
Work,
money,
job.
salary, things.
Money. So important.
Yeah, I can't just go play with fish.
Dan says my Swiss cheese is turning yellow. How often do you water it? I have never grown it inside in a pot. I have grown it in my tanks, and I've grown it outside in a planter, and it needs a fair amount of water. I mean, it likes wet feet. I would say that if you stick your finger in the soil and it feels dry, it needs to be watered again. If it's yellowing, have you fertilized it? Um, just use like a general like Miracle Grow houseplant fertilizer would work well. If it's chlorotic, you might be there might be a watering problem, either overwatering or underwatering, which could lead to an iron problem. Or if your water is really, really hard, like really, really high KH and pH that you're watering it with, it could lead to chlorosis. Look up online what chlorosis looks like, and you can see if your plant is chlorotic. If that's the case, you want to fertilize it with something that has chelated iron, or you can buy chelated iron, but like a fertilizer that would have it would be like Proven Winners, which you can buy. Like you can probably buy it at Home Depot even, or you can order it to fertilize your house plant. But yeah, I mean, it does need a good amount of moisture. They do great in aquariums. So if you wanted to grow it immersed out of your tank, it would be pretty happy.
I want to get some Monstera for sure.
Do you have the Adansonii?
I don't.
I thought you had it, but I can send you a cutting.
If I did, and maybe I had a piece of it and I lost it or something, I'm mostly just pothos. And now I have the philodendron. Jeremy
Yeah.
gave me a philodendron giganteum. The leaves didn't make the trip home, but I can already see it's regrowing leaves, so that one's doing okay.
Yeah,
And I
next
have a
time I
bunch
send
of
you
parlor
stuff.
palm as well.
Yeah, next time I send you stuff, I'll send you a cutting, and it will just root in water. And
Sweet.
it does really well. It doesn't grow quite as fast as pothos, but like I've cut it back many, many times, and it does great. Like I don't think about it at all. So, but I've never grown it as a house plant. I've grown it outside though, in a pot, because I had it in a planter, and it did pretty well. So, but you got to fertilize. Anything in a pot needs to be fertilized because it's a closed system.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, Coro said his two of his tanks with the most fish still only have like 4 inches of water because he's moving
oh
in the middle of the
right,
move.
that's exciting.
No,
That's
it's not.
Moving
Moving
sucks.
tanks. I
God,
don't want to do it ever.
I know. Moving sucks. Shady says, I have so much Monstero that I would be happy to send you. There you go. That's a good plan. It's a great plant for tanks. If you just want something other than pothos, just to mix it up, it's just as easy to grow as pothos. Grows
Good.
maybe a little slower, but just as easy. Because pothos, sure, it looks cool, but there's other plants.
Yep.
Try something else.
I like variety.
Yeah, mix it up. Moose is dirty fish water enough? I remember Tom Barr said aquaponics.
Wasn't as efficient as hydroponics.
Wasn't efficient. I mean, it depends on how dirty your fish water is. So I fertilize a lot because I have CO2. So those plants suck it up. And then all the immersed plants suck it up. So I have to add a lot.
Yeah.
For your house plants, maybe it's enough. Maybe it's not. I can't say. I don't know how dirty your fish water is, and I don't know how fast your house plants are growing. It gives it some. It might be enough, but it might also once in a while need a little boost. You could give it some Osmocote, which is a slow release fertilizer. It's good for houseplants. It's good for outdoor plants. I wouldn't use it in my tanks ever, but you just put a little spoonful of that in and it will slowly release food to your plants so they grow slowly. That works really well. But maybe dirty fish water is enough for your houseplants. Maybe it's not. I can't really say.
Yeah, I
If
mean
they're growing
the plants will tell you if it's good
yeah.
enough or not.
I mean, if you have yellowing leaves though or chlorosis, that tells me that there's either a watering problem. So if you have too reducing of water, or if you have too high pH and KH of water out of your tap, your iron will be not bioavailable for plants because it'll be in the wrong redox state. And so plants won't be able to take it up and use it. And so you're going to have to either add chelated iron or fix the pH problem by watering with part RO water. So that could be a problem, or they could just need more iron. So, or it could have other deficiencies. Maybe it's growing really slow. Maybe it's just, but it could be growing slow because you're not getting enough light. So I can't really say without seeing the plant.
It's deficient in something.
Well,
yeah. So last one, then I got to go. So Zen wants to know anything special I need to do for the Pogodacin. I just sent her some of that. Some of the myrtle plants.
CO2.
Yeah, CO2 and light. The light for the color.
Yeah, and it's as stems go, it's pretty slow growing. So you won't need to trim it that often, but you do need to trim it to make it look good and bushy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really nice stem plant, and I don't even like stem plants, and I really, really like it. But it really does need CO2. I don't know, maybe you could get away with if you had really, really low pH water, it would be okay. I've never tried that. But I would say for sure it needs CO2 if you have water like mine.
Yep.
So
alrighty. Well, so we will be back next week, right? You're not going to Germany.
Yeah. So and I will be here because I'm gonna leave on Tuesday. And I think I can stream on Monday night because our flight is Tuesday afternoon out of O'Hare. So we're going to leave for the airport Tuesday morning. O'Hare, Chicago. Yeah. Not next week. The week after.
The 5th?
Yeah, the 5th.
Okay.
So on the 4th, I should be able to stream. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I should be able to stream just fine. So, yeah. And then, but the week after that, I'll be in Germany. I wouldn't count on me streaming. I suppose it's possible. Not planning on taking my laptop though. So
yeah, enjoy the vacation.
Yeah, I mean, also if anyone in the chat has been to Germany, I'm looking for things to do. I'm going to be in Mannheim, which is south of Frankfurt, and I won't have a car, so I'll be taking trains everywhere. I don't really want to go very far any day because I want to be home for dinner every night. But if you have ideas for things I should do, let me know. Also, if one of you happens to live in Germany and wants to hang out, I guess we could. I mean, there you go. I don't know anyone in Germany, so yeah.
I don't either.
I know. So, but anyways, thank you everyone. I missed you guys.
Indeed. And
Yeah.
we'll see you next week then.
Yeah. Bye
Bye.
everyone.